Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. The next time someone, especially a beautiful person, asks me for a favor, I will run a mile and most likely two. Even though it's been over 20 years, I still feel like it was just yesterday. I can only blame myself for agreeing. My sister Shirley for asking, and the lovely Emma for getting me into this situation, right up to my neck and probably much, much higher. I need to go back 20 years to when I was 18 and still a good boy. That was in 1983, to be exact, in August of that year. On that day, our cousin Sandra got married on a beautiful summer day at 11 o'clock. In the beautiful green neighborhood of Elswick is St. Aidan's Church. Those who are familiar with the place will know that I'm taking a literary liberty. Never mind, as they say, let's keep going. Going back even further, in June of that year, all of the women in my family came to our house to, as they put it, sort things out. When they all came to our house, it was a nice, warm afternoon. One of my aunts, Sandra's mom, had gotten her hands on 2 bottles of the best wine, which she and the rest of the group began to drink. The wedding dress fitting meetings were held at our house because my mother was probably the best seamstress this side of the Tyne, bar none. They started talking to me, saying the standard things like, "Don't you think it's about time you got married, Alan? You should be dating by now. Christ, she doesn't know everything about me. It's possible I haven't met the right person yet. I never learned to stop listening to them and leave." But I had to say something. I guess that's the stupidity of youth. I didn't know that all the guys in the family had run away to the Benwell pub, leaving me with the old women. Another thing I didn't know at the time was that our Sandra was drunk and had a hard time standing without help from the pack, which, if the truth were known, was also having trouble standing. Sandra had to stand on one leg at a time for the dress, which made things even worse. Aunt Violet, the mother of the beautiful bride, said we should let our Alan wear it so we could finish the fitting and get to the club for a game of bingo. "Not a bad idea," said someone else. "All of you must be off your rockers. Come on, you can wear your own clothes under the dress, and you're almost as tall as our Sandra," I said. "Not a chance in hell." He's using bad words once more. Someone should go get the soap. Mum, who was drinking the least, said it might not be such a bad idea. What? Look, they've all had too much to drink, and they don't seem to understand the word no. I only need half an hour to finish up here, and you can keep your clothes on under the dress, as they said. Besides the fact that you might like it, it will be something new for you to try. Mom could tell I wasn't happy about the situation, but I gave in to keep the peace. Sandra and I are about the same size, but I might be a little shorter than she is. The people around me cheered as I put on the dress. At this point, Sandra was on the ground in a heap. Mom tried to close the zipper and buttons on the back. She found that she couldn't make the dress hang right no matter how hard she tried. She had to give up after 10 minutes. "Some of your upper clothes will have to come off." Mom could tell by the look on my face that I was scared. There was no way I was going to do that. Violet, Sandra's mom, and my own mom took me into the kitchen. They told me that a lot of time, effort, and money had gone into this afternoon and that a few childish comments from me wouldn't ruin it. It turned out that my aunt wasn't as drunk as I thought. Before I could say anything else, my aunt pushed a very big gin into my hand. "Don't get so worked up, boy. We're not talking about you having to dress like a girl for the rest of your life. No more than an hour or 2. I took a big sip of this hot drink and almost spit it back out. I asked with a resigned tone what the answer was. If people knew about this, they would laugh at me. Nobody will say, "What about the other people?" All of my aunts, who were standing at the door but staying quiet on the other side, said it would be our secret and stay with us. As I looked toward the door, 10 heads suddenly turned away. It seemed like my fate was set, so I agreed. I never tried on female clothes or anything before, however, I do have always been interested in it. So this was my shot. I looked at the wall clock and said, "In an hour, I should be done and back in my own clothes." Be fair, Alan. We have to take Sandra's dress off and you have to fix it. Then you can put on your own clothes again. All of that can't be done in just 1 hour. Then how long are we going to talk? Aunt Violet looked at the time, poured me another drink that was bigger than the first, and whispered, 3 hours. Until when? We were 3 hours late, and we had to start right away. I drank the rest of the drink and felt a warm glow spread through my body. However, a cold shiver went down my spine when I realized I agreed. One of my aunts complained that they had to leave now if they wanted to get places in the club. "If you think I'm missing out on this show," said someone else. The words never came to an end. Mom said that Alan is doing this as a favor, and since he is already embarrassed, let's not make things harder for him than they need to be. Sandra was put in one room, and I was put in mine. 3 of my aunts went with Sandra, who was now loudly singing to herself. But who knows what? Aunt Sarah will be happy to help you out and give you advice if you need it. Aunt Sarah wasn't really my aunt, but she had been a family friend for a long time. So out of respect for the difference in our ages, she was given the honorary title of aunt. She shouldn't worry. I told her I can handle it. Oh, the self-assurance of youth, Sarah yelled and laughed like a drain. How would a boy your age know what a girl wears? I had to admit that I didn't know what was going on when the clothes were passed around the door. I had seen those clothes on clotheslines before, but I didn't understand the order, so I knew I would need help soon. I'm not sure if it was the gin or my nerves, but soon I was asking Aunt Sarah for help. During this, someone turned the kitchen clock back an hour, but they wanted more than an hour or two. It seemed like they wanted a dance show, and I was the act for the night. As the hands of the clock were turned back, it was cheaper to stay home than to go to the club. We do need to be done before the men come back from the pub. Aunt Sarah told me to put on the undergarments and shout when I was done. Okay, I called, but only Aunt Sarah answered. I hid behind the closet door as she came in. Alan, you can't stay back there all night. Let's take a look at you and see what I can do with you, I said. Promise not to laugh. Fair enough, but if you stay behind the door, I can't help you get dressed, can I? I took a deep breath and walked out. Sarah looked at me from head to toe and smiled. Then I turned bright red and ran back to the safety of the closet door. Sarah smiled and sat on the bed with me for 5 minutes while putting me at ease. She looked through the clothes, and when she found a corselet, she gave it to me. I had to pull and tug to get into that, but I was able to do it. Using carefully placed tissues gave a little extra help. I turned around to put my extra stuff in a better position. I was glad Sarah was able to help me out. I snapped out of my dream when someone knocked on the door. You two look like you could use a drink. I said that the last thing I wanted was a drink, and now that I've had gin, my head is pounding, but a cup of tea would be nice. Sarah told me that she had something that would help me calm down. She asked another one of my aunts to bring her purse into the room. We talked for 10 minutes while we waited for the tea and bag. Sarah gave me 3 pieces of paper. I said that my headaches weren't that bad. One will help with your headache, and the other 2 will help you calm down. I asked what the pills were, and she said they were just aspirin and a light sleep aid. I took all 3 of them. We sat down again and talked as we drank the rest of our tea. As the talk went on, I could feel my head getting better, but I was also getting a little dizzy. Don't worry, that will be over soon. I had to admit that as my mind started to clear, I felt more at ease and wanted to keep going so I could get through this. Sarah told me to chill out and have fun with all the attention. Sarah looked through the rest of the clothes and found the socks. She put them next to me on the bed. Sarah looked closely at my face and said, "There aren't many hairs on your face. Have you shaved yet?" "Not yet, no." "Good. You should use a cream instead right now." Sarah got down on one knee in front of me and put my foot on her knee. She then started rolling one of the nylons up my leg and putting it on one of the 4 straps that were hanging down. She did the same thing with my other leg, and when they were both on, she told me to stand up. She then stood behind me and put the other suspenders on the nylons, pulling them into place until they looked just right. I'll be honest, it made me feel electric, and my face showed it. Alan, you'll get used to it. Again, a hint that she thought this wouldn't be a one-time thing but would happen again at some point in the future. Last but not least, a full top with a bouffant style was worn before the dress. Sarah told me to put my arms over my head, and then the top was put in place. Then I was told to step into the dress, and it was pulled and tugged until she was happy. The zipper was slowly pulled up the back so that the dress wouldn't get destroyed, and to make the whole thing feel more comfortable. Almost there. Put one of your legs on my knee. Sarah put her hand in her bag and took out something pink. I didn't know what it was at first, but when she put it on my leg and started to slide it down, I realized it was a garter. This was mine to wear on the day of my own wedding. I didn't know you had a husband or wife. I didn't, because my fiancé died the year before we were supposed to get married. Sorry, I wasn't aware. Don't feel bad. It's been a long time. I chose not to look into those needs too much. Sarah left me sitting on the bed and went out of the room. She came back quickly with a pair of shoes with heels that were 3 inches high. I'll sneak these to you. Sandra did not have those shoes on. I know, but you're a little shorter than me, so they'll make up for it. I thought it made sense. Sarah told me to sit at my mother's dressing table. A throw that was on top of the bed hid the part with the mirror. I had to admit that I was very curious to see what I looked like by now, since I felt so different. She took a brush from behind the table and brushed my hair into the most feminine shape she could. Back then, my hair was longer than it had been in a long time. The Beatles and the Stones were the reason for this. She put clips in my hair in just the right places, and before I could stop her, she used a lot of hairspray to set the style. Almost done, just one more touch to go. She took another bag out of her bag, but this one was much smaller than the first. I didn't realize what was going on until I smelled perfume in the room. I'm not going to wear makeup. Dear, that wasn't the plan. Again, the truth hit me like a hammer. Look, I've been helping you get dressed for the last hour. It would be nice if you'd let me finish the job. It's just a little makeup. I had never seen her face look so determined before. Also, you were scared that you would look silly, but I made sure that won't happen. Come on, you've come this far, and all I want is a small favor. It looks like a favor is what got me into this situation in the first place. Who cares? I thought things couldn't get worse. So I told them to do their worst. She was putting on makeup like it was going out of style before I could stop her. 20 minutes later, she told him to wait until he saw himself because he wouldn't believe it was him. Can I ask for one more thing? Ask, but let me know if I can say no. Let me fix your nails. So, my nails were polished, shaped, and painted over the next 20 minutes. Sarah said that was the best we could do for now, but just think what we could do with a whole weekend. Stick out one of your hands. I asked which one. You decide. I stood up for my right. A band was put around my wrist, and 2 rings were put on 2 of my fingers. It's too bad about your ears, but you should be able to fix that soon. Hold on! Sarah went back to the dressing table and found my mother's jewelry box. When she opened it, she found exactly what she had hoped would be there. 2 clip-on earrings in ivory should be worn by the best-dressed bride. We're all done now. Oh, I almost forgot what I had in mind when I stooped down. How many more can a girl take? What was I thinking? It wasn't missed, and we both had big smiles on our faces. I was given a silver chain with a locket. Next time, I'll find a picture of myself to put inside. I had lost track of how many clues there were that this wasn't just a one-time thing. The tiara and veil were put on my head, and the veil was folded back and clipped in place. Sarah told me to close my eyes. She grabbed my hand and led me to the closet, where she put me in front of the door. When she was done putting my dress where she wanted it, I heard the doors creak open. Open your eyes now. When I opened my eyes, I was so shocked that I couldn't speak. But I knew it was me. Sarah got close to him and whispered, "Well, how do you feel? Was it all worth it? Caroline, wait until the next time." Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.